It's an interesting question. As a kid, I was really fascinated with rockets, space programs, and there wasn't really any at that time. But the more I got involved in physics and science in high school, the more interested I became in high-tech things. And I went to Texas A&M, got a degree in mechanical engineering with a specialty in thermodynamics, because I wanted to build rocket or a fast car. Some of the wrong reasons, but it was an interesting reason. When I got out of A&M, my first job was redesigning an Army rocket. And it's an engineering company, and that even motivated me more in the space business. And then I became very fortunate, went into the Air Force and was assigned to Vandenberg Air Force Base. Well, I was assigned to the 6595th Aerospace Test Wing at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and part of an all-Air Force military launch team for Scout launch vehicles. And that was some of the most exciting times, because at that time, space was a new frontier. We were in a space race with the Russians, and we were searching for new technologies to apply to space. It was an exciting time. Well, in the Air Force, I did a lot of interesting things, launching numerous satellites. When I was 28 years old, I actually ran an entire satellite launch operation, from the assembly of the launch vehicle, integration of spacecraft, countdown, and launch, and punched the final button. But I also worked other military programs, and then when I got out of the service, I had the opportunity to apply a lot of the technology to civilian programs and do commercial space opportunities. International Microspace was a company where we worked on the concepts of small satellites, small launch vehicles, primarily to take advantage of new technologies and reduce the cost to get to space. It was kind of on a lark. One time we were meeting with some friends of mine in the space business, and they said, "Well, Otto, what are you going to do now?" And I said, "I don't know." And they said, "Well, you know what you should do is get a license in Europe. They're deregulating." So anyway, I founded Spacelink, and I got the first private telecommunications satellite license in Germany. And then from there, it was full-blown into the satellite communications business. That's a really interesting question, because probably I never expected to be in a management position when I was in my mid-20s. And when I was part of the Scout launch team, and ended up finally managing the entire Scout launch team, I had to learn a lot of new skills besides engineering. Right. We had projects to do and real tight timelines to get them done. So I learned how to put together the team of people, do plans, schedules, and make sure that the people that were working for me knew what the objectives were, knew what my expectations were, and lead by example. And that was the main thing. And you have to instill in your employees, your team, your integrity and your moral ethics, your work ethics, business ethics, and put all those things together. And I had to learn it very quickly. He has to have confidence in his team and his employees, and more importantly, they have to have confidence in the leader. He has to build confidence, He has to operate ethically and create an environment where everybody works as a team. It's easy to direct people. It's harder to have them follow you and manage them in that respect. Well, I think today we're in a much higher technical environment than we were in when I was young. And I think that if young people want to enter that field, the first thing is to get a good education. And that means getting a STEM degree, science, technology, engineering, or math. Because to be successful, they have to totally understand the environment that they're going to go to work in. And that becomes critically important to them. And then after they move into that arena, one thing they need to do is do a little introspection. What do they like to do? What are they capable of doing? What do they do well? What do they like to do? And then assess the opportunities and make sure that they accept an opportunity where they can advance their career, not an opportunity that pays the most money. So they have to look at that, and then probably one of the more important things is you can't work 40 hours a week and be really successful. Unfortunately, it's going to take maybe 60, maybe 80. And it's hard to balance that against family and your personal life, but it becomes very important that you take on more responsibility and you learn more every day. Well, first I mentioned the STEM degree early on, but then it becomes, I think, imperative that they have an advanced degree, but not in engineering, in management, finance, leadership, or any type of managerial or business degree. I think it would be very helpful. And the combination of the STEM degree and the management degree makes them very powerful in moving forward in that leadership role. They need to find a mentor there, someone who can lead them, advise them, and they can look up to and will help them progress through their career. Well, I can tell you the most memorable moment. As I mentioned earlier, it was in my early career when I was at Vandenberg Air Force Base and when I took over the operation of the Scout Launch Vehicle program, when I launched my first satellite. And I had the whole team, the launch team I was responsible for. We did the countdown, and I punched the final button. And the roar of the engines, and on my monitor watching that spacecraft lift off, probably one of the most memorable occasions. And I think today, young people need to set goals high. Set goals that are difficult to reach. And anytime you do that, and you reach those goals, you're going to be not only excited that you did that, but it'll be a memorable experience.